Hi, everybody. My name is Matt Webster. I'm the founder, CEO, and CISO for Cyvergence. And what Cyvergence does is bridge business and cybersecurity together. So we have a new program that's out that really fits that bridging theme. It's the Cyvergence Cybersecurity Leadership Exchange, and this is an overview of that program if this is something that you would like to participate in. So the definition of the CCLE. Um, it's a structured, founder-led, myself, leadership refinement environment for cybersecurity executives seeking deeper clarity, stronger alignment with business leadership, and disciplined decision-making in complex environments. So this is really critical. But let's dive into this a little bit more. So the purpose of this exchange, very simple, is to elevate cybersecurity executive leadership. That's the whole point behind it. But that means a lot of different things. So part of it is elevating survivability in complex environments. And that's the reality of a lot of CISO jobs, especially if you're a medium-sized organization or if you're anything higher. That's part of what the purpose is. So it does expand or refine becoming the next generation material, but we do not duplicate the material, not in its entirety. That is a separate course, and we try to stay away from core topics in there unless we're going a lot further than what was actually mentioned, which we will be doing all the time. We will be focused on clarity, structure, alignment in cybersecurity leadership. That is a very key part of this because if you don't have alignment and clarity, you're not going to do very well in your role. And strengthening governance, risk, and alignment, really key part of this. And sharpen decision making under real world pressure. And part of what that means is we're going to explore in depth what is decision making, how are decisions made, what are the psychological impacts of things. But in general, these are the core tenets of what we're trying to do, the purpose of the exchange. But there's also intended outcomes. There have been reports like this coming on for ages, but you've seen everywhere from CISOs lasting 14 months to 2 years, sometimes less in the middle. Like the first time I became a CISO, 17 months was the average lifespan of the role. Part of the goal that I have for Cyvergence is to have CISOs last a longer period of time. But if you're going to last a short period of time, learn when to exit and learn to when to exit early. So I'm okay with people leaving. If it's a really toxic environment, we're going to talk about toxic cultures, toxic environments, cultures, and all these other things as well. But leave on your own terms. But the other out is to eliminate blind spots. We all have them. I have them, you have them, the whole human race has them. But also to understand not only what those blind spots are, but why they occur. This is a key part of leadership, and it's something that people need to grow and build on over time. Strengthen structural clarity between cybersecurity and business. Really key part of this because a lot of times there's assumptions that are going and CISOs are acting, business is acting, and there isn't real communication that's going on. And this is a problem. So where I focus on, well, some of it's in the BNGC course, some of this is going to be separate. Refining judgment. So again, we're getting to the politically complex environments, but the refinement of judgment is really critical for CISOs because you're going to be making executive decisions and it may or may not be in alignment with the business itself. Improve executive credibility and influence. Your ability to influence is going to help you survive. All of these fit these goals that we're working on and building long-term leadership maturity. This isn't about knowledge, it's about maturity. And so I'm hoping as you start to go through this, having a deeper understanding of the roles, what happens with people, psychology, all of these different things is going to help you last longer in the role and help build your maturity because you're going to understand the context in a way that a lot of other people are not. I do feel it's important to say what the exchange is not. It is not a certification boot camp style training. That is something that's very separate. Technical labs or tool configuration. We definitely don't cover any of that kind of stuff. There's a lot of resources you can go to. We aren't going to touch on any of that. We do not cover therapy or personality profiling or anything of the sort. That's, something you can go somewhere else and get people who are qualified to do some of those types of things. This is also not one-on-one advisory access. I do act as an advisor for companies, sometimes as a virtual CISO, and those are completely different skill sets. And it's not something I'm focusing on anything in this exchange. It's also not individual coaching. I do coach CISOs and I do coach others as well, but this is not part of the purpose of this exchange at all. So the session formats, roughly 90-minute recorded sessions monthly. Leaders can ask questions without being recorded upon request. Questions and lively discussions are encouraged. Formal training is going to be part of this as well, of course, and then case studies and some of the other stuff, applied learning sessions and practice exercises. We'll be getting into decision framing, or sometimes how do you build something. In some cases, I'm going to have some of the participants be very quiet in what they're doing, and other times it's going to be a lot more lively as part of the process here. Core topics. Topics will be a continuation and expansion of the BNGC course, but we do not assume that you've had the BNGC training. I am going to be putting up another video that's going to cover like really high level, some of the basics, but it's not going to cover the depth that I've got in the BNGC course. Any topic related to cybersecurity, business, and leadership. I mean, that is a triumvirate right there, or those topics, and it can expand from there. And a lot of this, it's going to jump slightly beyond that as well. Like you can probably notice there's enterprise risk management, ERM. I'm a huge fan of it. And I do think that CISOs do have a role, and quite often you build it. I have built ERM in more than one organization because that's what the business wanted me to do. So I'm picking on an additional role. And so a lot of this is just taking into account that larger process and larger functions to understand what does it mean to be a leader, and what does it mean to, sometimes you have to lead the room, and that's part of learning to become a better leader. We will be rotationally exposing a lot of different topics, and this is just going to go through in a lot of different series, and I have lots of different series that are planned, but this is part of the core topics. There are some participant expectations. We do assume that there's executive level maturity. You're not there to play games. You're not there to goof around. We do have confidentiality and professional discretion is going to be assumed. Respectful, disciplined discussion. Challenge the ideas, not the people, because we want to keep this very professional and look at how do we build up people within organizations. Participation is encouraged, but not required. No guaranteed response times outside of those sessions. No disruptive or ego-driven conduct, not going to be permitted, and no personal-driven attacks. Commercial, and also no commercial promotion. Other than stuff that's related to Cyvergence, we're going to try to keep that very separate. You know, I may end up changing my mind down the road, but this is where we're at for the time being. Closing thoughts. This is an environment for those who want to lead a longer period of time. You know, you want to be able to think more clearly, want to operate with credibility at the executive level. And you're also willing to refine and work on your own blind spots. As I said before, everybody's got those blind spots, and that's part of what this program is about. So growth, real growth in your leadership journey, it's got to be deliberate. You've got to understand what the P's and Q's are. You've got to know where you're going. So the Cyvergence Cybersecurity Leadership Exchange is one avenue for you to take in order to explore what you're able to accomplish. So I want to thank you very much for your time today. I know this is a fairly short video compared to some of the stuff that I will focus on. Feel free to follow us on YouTube, LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. You'll find me there. And also you can feel free to reach out to cyvergence.biz. If you go to services under training, you're going to find the CCLE there. And hopefully I will see some of you there. Thank you so much. Have a good day.